Well, right now, the debate on immigration reform is back in full swing. The plan released by the Gang of Eight last week is being debated during a series of Senate hearings. And some suggest it's really on its way to passing eventually. In a Wall Street Journal editorial published today, Fred Barnes says despite all this controversy surrounding this one issue, reform on immigration is starting to roll. That's what he says. He's writing, quote, this: "It is rare in Washington for the trend lines on a controversial issue to come together as favorably as they have for immigration reform." Joining us now, the author of that editorial, Fred Barnes. He's the executive editor of the Weekly Standard and a Fox News contributor. So, Fred, you paint this scene in the first couple paragraphs of your piece, this magical coming together of the public and Hispanic groups, a top Democrat being the president, a top Republican being Marco Rubio. Why do you think this seems to be a moment where it seems like folks might be on the same page?
Well, you know, I compare it to 2007 when there was a bill that almost got enacted in the Senate, and it didn't. And there was, and it's so different now. The polls are better. This time, there are many, many more Republicans who find immigration reform acceptable, and even reform with a path to citizenship, which many Republicans opposed in the past. Is
that key, Fred? Is that when you look at that 800-plus page bill, one wonders what's in it that really has maybe potentially has this tipping point opportunity for not only these politicians but for the country.
Well, that's certainly one of them, this path to citizenship. It's not something that will occur overnight. I mean, it will be a minimum of 13 years before you can become a citizen if you're here in the United States illegally now, and there are many hoops to jump through, pay taxes and so on. But this is, I really haven't seen anything like this recently where it all came together. It all seems to be coming together. And compare it to gun control, Jenna. I mean, with gun control, you had a huge lobby against it, a powerful lobby, NRA and other gun groups and people that own guns. On immigration reform, you have a lot of serious conservative criticism, particularly about the security measures in the bill, but it's nothing like the powerful lobby that was against gun control. Well,
it's a bit redundant to say that there's politics involved here, isn't it, Fred? But I was looking at this Politico article written this week that was talking about the bill, and here's what Politico says. It says that the immigration proposal pending in Congress will transform potentially the nation's political landscape for a generation or more, and if current trends holds, it's going to produce an electoral bonanza for Democrats and cripple Republicans. What do you think about that assessment?
Well, I think it's wrong for a couple of reasons. One, bonanza is, there are not many bonanzas in politics. And the other one, it assumes that all these Hispanics are going to continue to be Democrats. That's how they're going to vote. Remember, George W. Bush got 44% of the Hispanic vote when he was running for re-election in 2004. Look, Republicans are going to be hurt by the Hispanic vote, whether this passes or not, unless they learn how to appeal successfully to Hispanic voters. So it's going to be bad either way for them, unless they do this.
As you get closer to seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, again, there's a series of stages before this actually becomes the law of the land. How do you think politics starts to surface here, where people are looking to take credit? This is going to be under potentially a Democratic administration if it passes this year, but Marco Rubio has also been the leader. So who claims credit for it and who gets the win? That can sometimes disrupt even the best plans. So what do you think about that?
Yes, it can. It can upset the best plans. Well, certainly Democrats will claim credit. President Obama will claim credit, although the best thing the president can do right now is stay out of it. I mean, he can destroy the chances, but I don't think he can enhance them much. But if you have Marco Rubio out there in front, as a Cuban-American, someone who speaks Spanish, someone who is a powerful speaker, that's going to give some Republicans some credit. But even if they don't get all the credit, if this bill passes, it will give them a chance to speak to the Hispanics, and Hispanics will listen, and they won't be blocked from considering conservatives by the lack of an immigration reform measure.
We encourage our viewers to take a look at the article and really lay it out in an interesting way where you can see all sides and how they're trying to strategize here, Fred, and how potentially it might be a good thing, which is a rare thing to say out of Washington, D.C. these days.
It is.
I appreciate the time, Fred. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Jenna.